And then, like, what message, like, would you want, like, to leave with, like, veterans and families, like, just, like, through your book, through this conversation?
So we did a advanced review with some people for the book, so they got to read the book. And one of the reviews was from a mother, and she said, "Now I know why my son lost his soul in Afghanistan." And we got a lot of reviews, and people said, "Hey, this is really good." But that was probably, it's like, that one sticks to me the most because veterans generally can't talk about their service. And this book, since it's not just directly about me, it's about just everybody that I saw and all of their stories. The book is a great representation of just the general warfighter in Afghanistan. So for them, it's an opportunity to have their service and like the type of life they lived, have that out without having to say it. And then their families can really learn as much as they can through reading. Obviously, they didn't experience it, but they can actually kind of see like, oh, wow, you know.
What crazy shit happened.
Right. Crazy stuff, and just understand a little bit about, you know, why maybe they are the way they are or why they came home with some issues. So it's really a net positive for family, and hopefully it helps some healing that way with families. And then there's also there's some truths about the war that nobody ever knew about. So I really hope people read that and absorb those before America goes into another conflict.
Shout out Duffy, shout out Micah.
This is it. Central Valley Podcast.
Hey, big shout out Central Valley Podcast.
You know I had to fuck with it.
Hey, shout out Central Valley Podcast.
Matt Brunnemann, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So why don't you introduce yourself and kind of what you got going on?
For sure. So I was born and raised in Fresno, so I'm just a Valley dude. Left the Valley in 2008 and came back in 2013. In that time frame, I was in the Marine Corps, so left and came back home, and still pretty close. I live not too far down the road. And the reason why you have me here today is for my book that I wrote. So I wrote War Business, The Hired Guns of Helmand Province. And it's about the Marine Corps' mission in the fight in Afghanistan. So the whole country was a little bit different as far as the way the war went. And then Helmand Province was a very specific part of the war. And basically 99% of the dudes that were there were Marines. So it was a Marine Corps mission. So that's what the book is about.
Awesome. And before we dive into that, being raised in the Valley, what kind of led you to join the Marine Corps?
I always had this knack as like a little kid. I was just wanted to be like an army man or something. Could be probably because my grandfather was in World War II. So,
my grandfather was also in World War II.
So that was,
what did your grandfather do?
He was in the Navy, fought in the Pacific. Don't know anything beyond that.
Yeah, I just know like, yeah, it's okay. Yeah. I know like, I know that my grandpa fought and battled the Bulge and fired the cannons and that.
Nice.
But like that's, yeah, after that, I don't know anything.
My grandpa never talked about it. My uncles don't know anything. My dad doesn't know anything. My grandma doesn't know anything.
That's crazy.
I didn't understand why until
you're older, right?
I left and served and was like, oh, okay, I could see why Grandpa didn't want to talk about, you know, what he did to the Japanese people. I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe my 4-year-old grandson's not going to like me after I tell him about this.
So then what kind of drew you to just that's kind of what drew you to?
I guess, I don't know, respect, interest and whatnot. And then I was in 6th grade when 9/11 happened. So that was pretty impactful because my brother was in boot camp when 9/11
35, 36? Is that what you are?
I'm turning 35 in a couple of weeks. So my brother was in boot camp when 9/11 happened. So he was supposed to graduate, and then their base was on lockdown for a while after. And then not long after that, he went on his first deployment. He was gone for a year, and then he deployed a few more times. So I was just like, I got to do my part. So I just always grew up and then wanting to serve, but mostly I didn't want to go to college.
So you're like, this is the route.
Yeah.
And the Marines, like, did you think about going to other branches, or was it always like Marines that you wanted to?
It was only the Marine Corps. So I Did not. So in my senior year, I didn't do homework for my technology class. So I went and took the ASVAB so I can get an extra couple of days to do my homework assignment instead of going to class. So when I was taking the ASVAB, the military entrance exam in the cafeteria, there's a few recruiters there. And then there was one dude in Marine Corps dress blues, and he got me. He didn't even have to. I called him.
Yeah.
He didn't even have to.
What do you do? What are you in?
Yeah, he didn't even
You look
have
cooler
to work
than these
hard.
guys, huh? Is that what you're thinking?
The Marine Corps dress blues are iconic.
Yeah.
And everybody else was, and I don't even remember what they were wearing.
Yeah,
he
but
was
it just
in dress
stuck out to
blues.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That was it for me.
Yeah. And then what was your kind of perception like going into the Marines? And then when you got there, what was kind of like your perception then?
I loved it. Not because I was so cool and so tough. I just freaking loved the military way of life, and just everything was so regimented and this and that. And so I just loved it, fit in. I was like, you know what? I'm probably going to do 20 years of this. This is going to be a career for sure. And couldn't wait to, I was just hungry. Like, I got to go to war. This war is going to be over. I got to go as soon as I can. And just loved it. So that my first unit, I was lucky enough to get, they were already scheduled for deployment before I even showed up. So it was just like, man, the Marine Corps has given me everything I wanted so far.
And then what did you do in the Marines? What was your job?
I was an intelligence specialist.
And what is that exactly?
How much time do we have?
I mean, whatever. We're chilling.
There's a few ways to think about it. I guess the best way would be, you're supposed to kind of be a liaison of the enemy. So when a commander wants to make decisions, your company commander, your military commander wants to make decisions about the war, how he's going to do this and do that. He wants to know everything that the enemy does, how they fight, the way they think, their tactics and all that. So as an intelligence specialist, that's what you're supposed to bring to the fight, is basically represent the enemy.
And like, if we do this, they'll probably do this. Like
Correct.
that type of...
Yeah, so if we want to go this way, hey, these specific compounds have been used to start gunfights, or they put bombs this way and things like that. So it's just you're painting the picture of the enemy for the commander so he can make his decisions.
Okay. And so paint the picture for me on like your deployment, like how you get there. What is that like? And it's Afghanistan, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. And so like kind of paint that picture of like, how do you guys even like arrive?
Okay, so I went to Afghanistan twice. Both deployments, they were very different from each other. So we leave Camp Pendleton in September 2010, fly to Maine on a civilian airliner, which I thought was weird.
So you're just like a regular...
Yeah, I mean,
plane?
it was only Marines on there. It was just our unit, but I thought we would be taking military aircraft over there, but it was like, you got flight attendants bringing you like soda and peanuts.
You're like, are we getting deployed right now?
Yeah. Like, oh, this lady's really nice. I didn't think that was going to be part of Afghanistan. So we fly, and then we landed in Kyrgyzstan. So Kyrgyzstan, it was the last country we landed in before we got to Afghanistan. And it was a big air base. The Air Force was operating out of there. So we flew into there, stayed there for a few days. Kyrgyzstan was home to a lot of Soviet fighting. So we get to this base, and it's like, see all these buildings just destroyed from the Soviet Union in that era. Seeing Jeeps and stuff on top of 3-story buildings, like flipped over, and wild, cool. So we get there, the Air Force just we get a safety brief, like, hey, welcome to the country. You can go buy some clothes and gear here. There's also a bar down the road on base, but for the safety of everybody on base and like all creatures within 1,000 miles, Marines are not allowed to drink. You guys can't drink here, so stay away from it, pretty much. So we just stayed there for a few days and then flew into Kandahar. Kandahar was a giant base, like 40,000 people were on this base. Air Force, Army, every country that was part of the fight. They were there. And then a lot of civilian contractors, they were there. It was a huge base. They had little stores from every single country that was fighting in the war. So we somehow, some way, we've heard this rumor that there's going to be, that the German store sells steroids. And they put it in their protein, in their whey protein. So we were on the hunt.
We're going to find this.
Yeah, we're going to buy this place out for sure. We're going to. So anyways, we found the German PX and we walk in and like, none of us could read German. So
you don't even know.
I don't even know. So let's just buy whatever we can and see what happens.
See what feels good.
Pretty much. We were in Kandahar for a few days, and that was like a acclimate to the heat, So you spend few days there, and then we headed into Helmand Province, took a military aircraft for the first time, finally got on a military aircraft. It was a C-130. I don't know, 100 dudes can fit on there. Fly in on there, and the pilot tells us we're going to do a combat land just in case, rockets get shot at the airplane, which it did not. Nothing like that happened. But we're going to do a combat land. It's basically just an extreme spiral down, so we just can't be a target. We're not going to take a slow descent.
So just freaking...
Yeah, we're going to crash land, but land safely. So that's what we did. And then spent another day or two just getting used to that part of Afghanistan, and then deployment was on.
Gotcha. And then, so what did, from that point on, what kind of, what's your story, you know what I mean? And what, caused you to want to write a book?
Yeah. So that deployment was for 361 days. So that was a year-long deployment. First few months, so I was an intelligence specialist. We deployed as Regimental Combat Team 1. So there's, about 200 of us that deployed in my unit. I think 12 or 13 intel guys. So small little section. There was just such a big fight going on in Helmand Province that we were pulled every which way. So we immediately had to send some Marines to like the fighting units, support them. They needed combat reinforcements, things like that. For me, I got stuck on the big base on Camp Dwyer for a few months. So I was doing targeting. So I was the regimental targeting chief, and that's not because I was good. It was just like, that's the billet position. I'm definitely going to claim that. But it was just like, I'm the guy with the pulse, and that's my job. So I was the targeting chief. So this was identifying bad dudes. And then on the other side of the house, it's identifying locals that we can partner with to help. We got to win the hearts and minds. And this is a counterinsurgency. So killing the enemy is just as important as making friends. So we did red cell targeting, white cell targeting. Red cell would be, these are the guys that we need to capture, kill. White cell is, these are the guys that we need to partner with and kind of, help them just get in their good graces, essentially.
And what was like your guys' mission, or, you know what I mean?
So I don't know. That's
because you just kind of get in the military, you just get told kind of, this is what we're doing.
Well, that's one aspect, but also it was like, what was the overall mission of the war in Afghanistan? Why were we there? Yeah. So was it just to kill Taliban or kill bad guys? That's effectively what our mission was. It's on, just for our company, our 200 guys. That's what we're doing in Helmand Province, but on the grand scheme of things, in a counterinsurgency war, it's really easy to create new Taliban. So you killed this Taliban fighter, and now his 54 cousins and uncles hate you, so they're going to join the Taliban. So it's to say what was our mission on the grand scheme of things, super hard. But for us, we were supporting the guys on the ground in Helmand Province. So Helmand Province was home to 90 to 95% of the world's heroin supply came from Helmand Province. Damn. So really that was the mission, was we need to take Helmand Province from the Taliban. it was a big cash cow for the Taliban. 90% of the world's heroin, like 9 out of 10 dudes shooting up heroin or funding the Taliban indirectly. So, I mean, that was their strategic and logistical center. And it was also because the only thing that could grow out in Helmand Province was poppy. There was nothing. It was just a dry wasteland.
Was it like desert, or what was it like?
It was desert. So Afghanistan has different regions. Some dudes on the east part of Afghanistan, there was, mountains and snow, and out on the west in Helmand Province, it was desert, 1,000, 2,000-year-old mud compounds and one water source, the Helmand River. And all aspects of life were just centered around the Helmand River. So the only thing they could grow there was poppy. It was either poppy, cotton, or pomegranates. And
really?
And
pomegranates good with drought, or
I don't know.
I don't know, right?
I don't know. I have them in my backyard.
I'm saying my grandparents have them in their house, but I was like, I didn't know if that's like a
drought.
It seems like such a random. Like I'm saying, it was like cotton, which are like crops. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But pomegranate's not like a crop.
You wouldn't expect that for sure. So the problem there was the locals the civilians make so much more money producing heroin than
everything
growing
else.
a pomegranate, right? So they didn't want to give that up either. So Helmand Province, that's like the size of West Virginia.
Okay.
So province is like another name for like a state.
Yeah,
I guess. So it was 10,000 Marines taking West Virginia from the Taliban, and nobody there wanted to give it up. So the Taliban obviously didn't want to lose control, and then the civilians didn't want to lose their only income source.
Yeah, I was gonna say, U.S. were basically taking what like in America, heroin is bad, right? You know what I mean? But those people, it's like their lives depend on making money through this, right?
For sure. So it's very pragmatic for them. We can't grow anything else, and they don't have. There was no federal government in the sense that we have in Western civilization. So there's not going. If they did grow cotton, they're not going to be exporting it on global markets. It's just that illicit market, the black market, is basically how they got the poppy out. And then also the Taliban extorting it and taking it. So about halfway through my first deployment, myself and one other intel guy, we got put on an aerial interdiction force. This was just a brand new concept. A colonel out there, a Marine colonel, was like, we got to do more about the poppy. We know they're growing it. We know they're exporting it. We got to capture it, get it somehow. So they stood up this aerial interdiction force. And so my job and the other Marines' job was to install tracking devices in the opium smugglers' cars, Taliban cars, and that way we can start identifying, we call them
the routes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So rat lines is what we call them. So identify rat lines and start identifying compounds that they were, stopping at. So obviously if they're stopping at this compound in the middle of nowhere, that compound's of interest, of value. So we were installing those devices and just capturing drugs whenever we'd find them. So we'd have a criteria, basically, if very few people had cars out there. So if you had a car, you're kind of already somebody of interest. And then if you're flying 70 miles down the road,
you're doing something with a purpose. For
sure. So that was kind of our go, no-go criteria. You start seeing cars hauling balls, and we're going after them. So I did that for the last 6 months of that deployment.
That first deployment.
It was super successful as far as what the opium that we pulled off. I mean, this was already, scored and packaged and ready to leave the country. So we were
And where was the main, I guess you said 90%, right? Heroin, for the world, but like, where's like the next stop when, like, if it did get out of the country, where does it go?
For sure. Yeah. So we were trying to stop it from just where Helmand Province was located. If it was leaving Helmand Province, it was either going to go to Pakistan or Iran. So and then we have no recourse there.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got to stop it before it gets out of the border. Otherwise, it's World War III if we go. You know? So we weren't special forces dudes with like the special permissions. Like we're gonna go get Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. Like it wasn't like that at all. Yeah. So we weren't that cool. I wasn't, at least. So we were just trying to get it before it left. There's no recourse after that.
And then so that's that, and that was probably pretty much that deployment's mission and what you did for that time, or.
Yeah, pretty much. That's all the cool stuff. I mean, it was 361 days.
So is there like when you're not on the clock? I mean, obviously you're like kind of always on the clock, but like when you're not like at your job, what are you doing out there? Like, you know, do you have like free time? I mean, that sounds like probably, I don't know if that's crazy, but
no, that's a great question. So there's a saying with Afghanistan: experiences may vary. So. Like some Marines, even within our company, were like they would get the weekends off, or they'd get like 2 days off every single week, and they'd play in their Xbox or PlayStation or whatever.
And what year were you over there? Sorry,
I was there 2010, 2011, and 2012.
Okay, gotcha.
But for me, the other Intel Marines, there's only 12 of us, spread very thin. We didn't get days off. Time off. Like I was just at a reunion with my boss, and so he was the regimental intelligence chief, and he told me he only called home to his family 4 times in the whole entire year. We're just busy, just no time off. But experiences vary, so it was just working. And, have you ever had the energy drink Rip It?
I don't know if I have. Which one?
So don't.
Yeah.
We would get those for free out there. So it was just like similar to California Zen. It's like the flavors were like power and like gunmetal, and they were awful, but it's the only thing you had. We were running off like
those basically
nicotine and Rip-Its for sure.
And then what are your meals out there?
Meals out there were very good. So we were on I don't know, maybe there was like 700 Marines on this base, so it was big enough to have a good chow hall, a good I don't even remember what word they called it. It's not a chow hall, but anyways, great eating there for sure. Second deployment was very different as far as food, but on that deployment, eating was really nice.
Okay, and then so you're there for 361 days. You come back for how long before you're deployed again?
Yeah, so I left Afghanistan on my 21st birthday, which was awesome because I really wanted to drink for sure. But anyway, so I came home. I was back in Afghanistan in 4 or 5 months.
Oh, okay.
So I came home, and a lot of veterans I experience this. You get home, you're super excited to be home. You want to leave. You come home, and then after a little bit of time, you're like, I got to go back.
Because you think about everybody else that's over there still, or what?
Thinking about that, but just everything you're doing is so important. Like, I'm going to eat really well because tomorrow's such a big day, or I'm not going to let my buddies down. Like, I'm going to train, and just everything.
Like a purpose. You had a purpose, right?
It's a purpose, and it's you see it realized every single day. So it's just a deep sense of purpose, and then you come home and
people are just jacking around.
Well, yeah, there's like the civilians. It's like they don't care about the war. They care more about like what was happening on the Kardashians and things like that. So that, like as a veteran, I was still in at that time. I'm like, oh, what the hell?
Yeah.
There's dudes dying out there. So that there's that whole aspect, and like this is all fake. Real life is war, and so you want to go back. And you're looking for that purpose. You're searching for that high that you'll never get again unless you go back. And myself and 3 other Marines, so I was a corporal at that time, my rank, and so 4 of us were begging to go back. We caught wind that one of the lower units on Camp Pendleton was deploying, and they didn't have anybody who had ever been to Afghanistan. So they were asking for 1 Marine with
some experience.
Afghan experience. So 4 of us begged, and I lucked out.
And then...
So I went to that 2nd unit. So that was 1st Battalion, 1st Marines. if you look at, if you watch the show, the Pacific, there, you know, the blue diamond is our logo. It's very, very famous from World War II. But anyway, so I go to the blue diamond, go to 1-1, and then we go out to a training. Anytime a unit deploys to war, they go to a training and evaluation exercise. So we went out to the Mojave Desert to go do this. And while we were out there, we found out that our deployment got canceled. President Obama had announced to the world, like, hey, we're pulling forces out end of 2012. So this is beginning of 2012. And so they tell us, hey, you guys aren't deploying anymore. And then, so we're out there at the training exercise, and our commanding officer's like, hey, you guys need to just continue this training evolution. Just do it like you're going to deploy anyways. Like, don't dick around. Just, you know, be Marines, get this done. We're still being evaluated. Just be great to get some critiques on how we're doing. So anyways.
And when you're training, what are you doing out there?
So this is, it's a month-long exercise, and it's basically all aspects of the war. So, you know, combined arms, you're patrolling. Like, how well are you guys patrolling? They have mock villages out there with, you know, they hire Afghans to live in these little villages. So, you know, you patrol through the village and you try and make friends with the people there, like the white cell targeting, try and befriend them and get used to their customs and don't offend them. Don't offend people. Anyways, and then there's the shooting and moving and calling in airstrikes, things like that. So you just get evaluated on basically everything that you're going to be doing in country. They want to make sure all your previous training was good to go, and you know how to do it. The commanders know how to do it. They know how to, you know, conduct a war. So that was the evaluation. So we're out there for a month, found out you're not going, finished it out, get back from training, and everyone's just super
bummed.
Like, oh man, the war's ending in 2012. This particular unit had never been to Afghanistan. So,
Bro, you ever wear a suit from Dapper Man? It's a total game changer. They've been voted best men's store 2 years straight, and it shows. From everyday suits to once-in-a-lifetime occasions, they've got you covered. And when it comes to weddings, there's no one else I'd rather trust. No rentals, no guesswork, just real fits from people who actually know what they're doing. Remember, whether it's a job, a wedding, or just because you want to show up looking sharp, they've got you. You can reach them at 209-285-2424, and they are located at 3507 Tully Road, Suite 310 and 320, next to Mr. T's Donuts. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Dapper Man isn't just a store, it's a suit lounge. And it's not called Dapper Man for no reason, because you're going to be there looking dapper, man. It's that time. Declutter with ease and reclaim your space. Welcome to Be Junk Free Merced, where Scott Livesey is your go-to guru for hassle-free junk removal. Tired of tripping over unwanted items or feeling overwhelmed by clutter? Scott's got your back. Unlike other services that leave you with the heavy lifting, Scott swoops in and handles everything himself. Say goodbye to clutter and hello to the refreshed space. Reach out to Scott today for a quote, and let's make sure your junk disappears in a snap. You can reach him at 209-233-1519.
Each unit in the military has their battle colors. So it's their unit symbol, and then they hang like a streamer of every war they've been in. So everybody wanted to add Afghanistan to the 1-1 battle colors. So we're just super bummed we didn't get it. And then sometime later, the unit that was supposed to go, they failed the final examination out in the desert. So they said, hey, you guys passed, they failed, you're leaving in 48 hours.
And you were stationed, were you still out in Mojave there, or where are you
We're
at this
back
point?
on Pendleton.
Okay, gotcha.
Back on Pendleton. Like, one of my best friends, he was like, hey, I'm not deploying. Hey, wife, let's get married. And, you know, so he was like, we'll get married after deployment. We found out we're not. They get married. Then we find out, hey, you're leaving in 48 hours. If you live close, if your family's close, like me in Fresno, like go say bye real quick. Because if you live in Ohio or New York, sucks to suck. Like, we're leaving in 48 hours. So get all your shit together and we're leaving. fortunate, I was able to go see my family, but most couldn't, didn't. And then we left. And so this was a very, very different deployment because of the...
Still Helmand Province, though, right?
Still Helmand Province.
Okay.
So because of the drawdown, our unit, so it was 1st Battalion, 1st Marines. So within a battalion, you have 4 companies, which each have about 200 Marines in each company. So about 800 of us are going to go. They tell us everybody needs to knock 50 dudes from the company, from each company. We're going to go in a smaller force, and then also you guys aren't deploying together. You're going to get to Helmand Province, and each of the 4 different companies are going to do something different, which was wild to think about. So my company was Bravo Company. We get to Kajaki, and we relieved a Marine unit of 800, and we were 150, maybe 160 dudes, 160 Marines. So we go and relieve them in their battle space. So this part of Kajaki, there's one road in Kajaki. Military vehicles are super big, obviously. They would flip over into canals all the time because their roads are super tiny. If they have a vehicle, it's going to be a 100cc motorcycle, and then a few people have like a Toyota Hilux. But anyways, so we go there, and we had a whole lot of battle space to cover because there were so few of us compared to the unit that we were relieving. So Kajaki was super important for Helmand Province because there was a dam there, the Kajaki Dam. So the Taliban, if they could control the dam, they control the water, people, the water, and indirectly the people. So it was a strategic piece inside Helmand. And also, hey, if we can control the water, maybe we can control poppy cultivation as well. So both sides wanted it. That was a pretty crazy deployment. That was very, very different from my first deployment. Let's see. About 3 months into the deployment, we started tearing down all of the American Marine infrastructure there. Just, hey, the war is ending. Obviously, the war ended in 2021, but everybody was in 2012. We thought the war was ending, so we're pulling down bases, pulling down, all the infrastructure, and so we were basically, our mission there was just support the police as much as possible. The police are going to be the ones providing for the security of the people once we leave, so help them out as much as possible. So that's what we're doing, and by police, I mean the 4 police officers there. Yeah, it was wild. These guys, if they wanted guns or more ammo, they would have to kill the Taliban and take their guns and ammo. It's completely different than what we think of in Western
town
civilization.
Or
it was they're alone and unafraid. And so they knew, the police knew we were leaving, so they were just go with us everywhere. We're going to kill as many Taliban as possible before you guys leave. We have airplanes because you're here. We have helicopters because you're here. We'll use you guys as much as possible. And we were more than happy.
And then what is your job similar this time around, or is it different?
So it's different. So I wasn't doing any of the tracking devices. So there was with Helmand Province, 2010, 2011, as far as the intelligence community in the Marine Corps is concerned, a new program was called the Company Level Intelligence Cell. So basically it was, you take an intel Marine and put him with all the infantry guys, and have that intel guy on the ground to support them as much as possible. So that was my job. So I picked, there's, 12, 15 squads within the company. So, my job was to pick a Marine from each squad and basically teach them as much as I know and as much as they could handle, so they could, do intel and collect intelligence and all that and kind of report back to me. But So our commander was a captain, and he made it very clear he wanted me to be referred to as shaitan by the Afghans, which means Satan. So he wanted me just out with the public as much as possible, meeting with the people, finding Taliban, all that good stuff. So my job out there was I would just go out on patrol wherever I could and wherever I needed to. So if I needed to get to XYZ compound, I would hop on, this squad is going to patrol out there. So I would go with them that day. Or if I needed to go somewhere else on the other side of the battle space, I'd just go jump on the patrol with those guys that were going to go out there. So I was just answering all the questions that the commander wanted to know for all of his decision making, and best way to do that is hands on, like out in the battle space. So it was just out there supporting them as much as possible. And another critical piece of gear that I would have was it's called a biometric device. So out there with the Afghan people, there's no the naming convention is very different. So there's no John Smith.
Yeah.
So their names would be based off of their occupation, which changes as much as an occupation would. So it would be like, hey, what's your name? Oh, I'm Mystery, which means mechanic. And then you ask the guy next to him, what's your name? Well, I'm Mystery. Like, we're in a mechanic shop.
Yeah.
That's so super hard. So the way we were tracking everybody and identifying everybody was through taking their biometrics. So we would take their fingerprints and then we would scan their irises. And inside your iris, there's like 6,000 or 7,000 individual data points in there. So that's just how we would.
And like you would start making your own database of everybody in the area, kind of?
I would be adding to the historical database. So that database would be cross-referenced with anytime guns were taken from the Taliban or we found a bomb, just civilian contractors. I don't even think they were in the United States or in Afghanistan, but they would take all the DNA and fingerprints and do that kind of exploitative analysis off that. So that info would get uploaded to our database. So if I scanned a guy's iris and be like, hey, this guy made an IED 3 months ago. And so we'd be able to target find and identify Taliban that way.
Damn. And then what happened to like really make you want to write a book? You know what I mean? What happened out there that...
For sure. So it was a messed up situation. So even from my first deployment, but to the second, just meeting all the people and just seeing the culture was so different. So like,
what are the people like there before you get into, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're just like, because you're interacting with them on a pretty regular basis, right?
For sure.
And like, so what is like their own culture, you know what I mean, with the Taliban being there and everything?
Yeah. So we can dive into the history of the Taliban later. I don't want to get derailed on that.
Yeah.
So they were either indifferent, the people were indifferent to the Taliban, or they were supportive. Generally, they were supportive because the president had announced we're withdrawing. So why would they support us?
Yeah.
Because they're going to
target on their back,
exactly,
right? Yeah.
Exactly. So they were indifferent. And then so that's Afghanistan wide. And then also Helmand Province, we were there for the poppy. So indifferent was at best. They knew we wanted to disrupt their way of life, for sure. It's not everybody, wasn't everybody. There were people who were genuinely sympathetic, didn't want Taliban shooting in their, well, you can't call them neighborhoods, but in their village and all that good stuff. But at best, they would be indifferent. So what really stuck to me was what the kids. So you can judge me, you can hate me, and all that good stuff. I accept it all, but the kids were super helpful to us because just kids are just good-natured in general. And so you like, hey, you know where any bombs are in the ground? Have you seen any bombs in the ground? Any IEDs? And you get them a piece of chocolate or like some Skittles, then they'll tell you. So One kid told me where a bomb was. We recovered that bomb successfully. Nothing went off. That kid ended up getting punished by the Taliban. You can ask further, but I ended up having to cut the chains off of this kid. So he was shackled from one wrist to the opposite foot and then chained to a wall, and they tortured him in all the worst Epstein ways you could think of for days, putting cigarettes out on his back, and just because he didn't want a bomb to go off either. And anyways, so just that way of life, that really stuck with me. But it was all. Or go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously that's like hard pill to swallow, because do you at all? And if I'm asking too much, you can let me know. But like, do you all feel not guilty, but you know what I mean? It's like you asked him, then the kid gets punished. You know what I mean? I
do know what you mean. So that's part of just the way I changed, was some knowing full well what happened to that kid. I asked another kid the next day, that happened to that kid, but I'm not going to let my buddy get blown up or myself. It sucks. It's awful. That's why I said, judge me. It just, it is what it is.
And do that, I'm sure the training for the Marines and everything, it's they ingrain you to you're there for the mission, right? That's above all what you're there for, right? You're not there to,
yeah. In training and definitely boot camp and in training, you're like, oh yeah, we're Marines. We accomplished the mission. Then you get to Afghanistan, you're like, oh, maybe things are a little bit fucked here. So I'm here for my boys. We're just going to come home. So whether we win this war or what happens, as many of us are going to come home as possible. So that becomes the priority, the cliche, the dude to my left and right, that whole thing is, but, so that's basically where my, moral framework shifted and was I will do whatever I have to. I'm not going to commit war crimes.
Yeah, exactly.
But I will blur some lines, I guess, to make sure.
You have to blur your own moral lines, right? In reality, to make sure that you can come home to your family.
For sure. Which, my before I even deployed the first time, and definitely the second time, my dad, was trying to impart that knowledge in me, which I didn't understand. But he was like, hey, you're going to do some things that probably outside of the way I raised you, and it's okay as long as you come home, type of thing. And before I deployed, I was like, oh, whatever. I'm going to do my job and come home, and things are going to be great. And then, just a basket case when I get back. And I understand what he was trying to say. After that, it's a little bit, you figured it out. I picked up what he was putting down before. And then the other thing with the kids, which another reason to write the book, was it wasn't just the Taliban doing that to the kids. So you can stop me whenever you want.
No, you're good.
So the Afghan culture has a practice called bachabazi. Have you heard of that? It's just recreational child rape. So even our Afghan army partners, some of the police partners, if they would just have boys that they would exploit for pleasure, and that was just that's a
regular thing going on there.
We want to drink a beer on a Friday night. That's our American pastime. They want a chai boy, this boy that brings them tea and other things. And we knew about it. We could not say anything about it at all. So in 2008, about 2008, an U.S. Army officer had found an Afghan officer doing this to a little boy. The U.S. Army officer just beat the shit out of this guy. It was like, you can't do that. Whatever. U.S. Army officer gets punished, separated, sent to military prison on the East Coast. And just, so it was, hey, this happens. Don't say anything about it. Don't offend these people's culture, which.
It's how can that?
Yeah, when you're there and it's hey, I would develop sources to give me intel. And I'm meeting with this village elder and shaking his hand, and he's got his chai boy right next to him. And it's like, man, I got to befriend this guy and be cool with him. And hey, how can I help you today? Knowing what you're going to do to that kid tonight is just sucked. And I'm not special in that regard. Like, it was very, very prevalent in that culture. So a lot of servicemen, most servicemen who went to Afghanistan know all about it, saw it, couldn't say anything about it. And it's partly why a lot of them are so quiet after, because it's like, hey, you might want to know what I did in Afghanistan, but you really don't.
Yeah, you don't want to know, but
you don't
it's
want
good to know just for the sake of...
we should know why, like policy-wise in war, and we're there for 20 years, and like, hey, this is my personal view. Why would we be spending American blood and limbs for a culture that is reprehensible? Of course, a lot of people needed help and all that stuff, but if that's just their cultural practice and stuff, like why, you know, the kid down the street, my nephew, thinking about him going to Afghanistan, I don't think that's worth it. We should at least say, hey, if we're coming to help you, you guys are going to stop this. This is not going to happen in our presence. Like, hey, if we're setting up a Western style government, we're also going to stop this practice. Yeah, that's just my views on that.
That's fucking intense.
Yeah, so I'll still answering your question why I wanted to write the book.
So we'll go back to that.
Our second deployment ended. We were going to fly home to America the very next day. So I'm still in Afghanistan. This is Bravo Company. We're still in Afghanistan. Leaving the next day. Me and some buddies are in the gym, just trying to work on the beach bods before we get back to America and start making trouble in bars and whatnot. Anyways, and there's this the most successful attack in the history of that war in terms of dollars happened that night. The Taliban infiltrated this base that had thousands of people on this base. Taliban infiltrated the base. They destroyed a whole bunch of Harriers, so, you know, millions of dollars of planes, helicopters, fuel, and then like 7 or 9 of them were on the base, like running around trying to wreak more havoc.
Were there Marines on that base?
Oh yeah, there's Marines, Brits. There's a little bit of everybody, but it was mostly a Marine Corps and British base. And we got extended. So Bravo Company.
So because of that, basically.
Out of the 10,000 Marines and personnel on that base, they said, hey, you guys are leaving tomorrow. Just kidding. You guys are staying. And instead of the 160 of you that are here, send like 50 or 60 home, and 90 of you are going to be here and extend for another 3 months. And
what does that feel like? Because like, obviously you're like, probably relieved a little bit. Like, I'm going home, right?
Oh, yeah.
You have that, and then you're just, no.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I wanted to go home. Everybody wanted to go home because you think, like, hey, the war's over. We tore down. We kind of fulfilled our task, our mission. We did that, and then, you know, Marines had already made plans. Like, hey, wife, we're going to Mexico for, you know, a week, got all this deployment money, haven't seen you in months. Like, all these vacations are planned and all that. And so it was just crushing for everybody. So this was September like 20th when that happened. On September 7th, on the way out of Kajaki, I had gotten blown up. So I was just ready to come home, just wanted to be with my family. But we had to stay, so it was soul crushing for everybody. Everybody canceled their plans. People were mad. Like, you know, I had a very good company commander, this captain, very stoic man, just what you want in a leader. He was slamming doors, like they said.
So even him.
Oh, everybody.
So then you're just like, if our captain's doing this, then fucking.
You have kids, so you know, like, hey, dad's gonna be home in 6 days, and you know, you you're at that time we had Skype, so you're Skyping.
Oh wow, yeah.
Hey bud, I'm gonna be home in a few days. You know, get your baseball glove out. And so, anyways, yeah, it sucked for sure. But the other thing that I guess stung about it was the part of the base that they attacked was where Prince Harry would fly in. So our new mission was to go punish the Taliban that did this, and then also secure this like flight vector for Prince Harry for when he flies in for his.
And why is he flying in? Just to visit the troop?
No, he served. So he was a pilot. He was a helicopter.
But like, was he like extra protect? You know what I mean? Because I feel like he's the prince of.
For sure. Well, I mean, they got American Marines to stay and protect this part of his flight path when he comes in, whatever. So we were like...
But you were kind of like, what the fuck? Like,
why Prince... Like, why don't the Brits do this? And then, anyways, we stayed there for a few extra months for Prince Harry. At that time, so this was real rough. This part of the deployment just messed me up for a couple of years. So in this area of operations, there was a very prolific Taliban sniper and an IED builder. This guy was great at making IEDs. Well, half great. He blew one of his own legs off like a few years before, but he was
learned, huh?
Yeah, he learned real good. But he was putting IEDs in the ground everywhere out there. So this Taliban sniper, we relieved this unit. We just have our regular just M4s, and we relieved this unit who have like enhanced battle rifles meant for counter sniper operations. And they were just like, hey, good luck with this guy. The problem is there's the Marine Corps area of operations, and it butts right up to the British area of operations. The Brits never go to this part where this guy is at, and he knows Marines cannot cross this imaginary line in the ground, so he just shoots Marines all day long without like any recourse, because nobody's going to go to where he operates out of. And I mean, I always thought snipers were cool, and like Marine Corps snipers, and like I held a Marine sniper rifle once, and I felt like I got like 30% cooler just from that, just from holding this dude's rifle. But I never understood how devastating a sniper is on the battlefield. It just messes with your head so much. So this guy was doing work. He was real good. So it's just like every day going out thinking, I didn't get shot yesterday. There's like a lot of probability that I can only dodge a bullet so many times. And me being the intel guy, talking with the locals and trying to figure out what was going on, I had a big target on my back. Like the Marine that's always talking to the Afghans with the interpreter, he's probably important. So just a lot of close calls, which messed with my head then.
So it's just like close call as in like
rounds impacting. I'm standing at a wall talking to a dude, talking to an Afghan, and a round hits the compound wall, and I'm getting dirt and spalling in my face because it's landing
right
that close to my head. Anyway, so that was just devastating. And then we tried so hard to get this guy, which we did not. We were trying so hard, and we did 2 like ad hoc operations. We called them Operation Bullet Sponge and Operation Bullet Sponge 2, which we got some British snipers to do some counter sniping operations. So we were out on patrol, embed the British snipers, kind of hide them, and then send me out to go start talking to people to start drawing fire. So that's why we call it Bullet Sponge. So once he starts firing, they could figure out where he is. Yeah. The problem was they shoot from, the compounds there are made out of mud, and they're like, 18 inches thick, these walls. So a bullet will not penetrate. And then they would just knock like a fist-sized hole out of the wall.
Put their gun out there? Or?
Yep, shoot from that. And then when you're 200-300 meters away, 400 meters away, you can't see that hole in the compound. So, the dude was invisible. Oddly enough, so I knew his name. Everybody knew his name. When I published the book, DOD forced us to redact this guy's name and take it out of the book. So we left it in the book, but we left it blacked out, among other things that we had to redact. But it's like, why
Or are we protecting his name, kind of?
Yeah, did this guy get evac'd in 2021? Who knows why they want to protect this dude's name? Don't know. I'm very curious. But so that guy was trouble for sure.
Can you not, like when the DOD does that, can you like not talk about the dude?
I mean, I can talk. They let me tell basically everything I've told you. I just couldn't say his name.
But you just like, even like to people, they don't want you to say his name and stuff like that. I'm just asking, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So the IED builder that was really successful out there. So we were dodging bullets and getting blown up. They let me
say his name though.
Say his name. So anyways, just weird. So that was the other aspect of the fight was there was just IEDs everywhere. So there was 90 of us that stayed. I think 40 of us got blown up in those last 3 months.
Damn.
And it was just like every day, every other day.
So you just felt like you guys were getting picked off, basically? Is that what you kind of felt like?
Yes. And not for like our own incompetence, but you know, there's like rolling hills out there. So it's hard. It's nighttime. How are we going to see over a hill? And I mean, these hills are only maybe 30 feet tall. They're not mountains, but they know what we can see and can't see.
They grew up there. They're raised there. They understand the area. You guys are literally just there for a couple, or
for sure.
Long.
So yeah, most Marines are out there for 6 or 7 months. Just because we were extended, we were only out there for 3 months. And the intel guy that I relieved out there, I ended up meeting him like 5 years later in Sportsman's Warehouse. He was randomly. He was working at the gun counter. I was buying a gun, so he's doing my paperwork. He's like, Brunnemann, were you ever in Afghanistan? Ended up being I'm the guy that relieved him. So I relieved him. So he was telling me, he was like, man, our whole squad got medically retired from PTSD from that sniper. Like he was
dude was just fucking.
Yeah, I mean I feel like a big wiener even saying it, like how much he had an impact and how it messed with my head, but it's just the way it is. And it was also because we couldn't cross the line where we knew he was and go kill him.
And why couldn't you? Because that's British territory of the war?
Yep. Yep. So, and they didn't do anything in that area. So we couldn't cross that imaginary line on the ground. He knew exactly where that was.
But even, you can't cross it even if the guy's killing all, you know what I mean?
We could shoot small arms. We could shoot our rifles or like a grenade launcher. We could shoot that, but we could not call American aircraft in to drop a bomb on that compound. That was the British space. So we could shoot there. But
and why doesn't it British?
That's a great question. I don't think there's anything nefarious about it. I think they just
do it differently than.
Or I genuinely don't know. So being as charitable as possible, like maybe they just didn't have enough guys to cover down on that area. I don't know. There's a lot of, I don't know. I'll just be nice about it and say I don't know. There's speculation that makes them look bad, but it's just speculation.
And then you being there, it's off. You kind of like, I don't know if you build resentment, but kind of probably like you just build like. Why? Like
I can't even look at Meghan Markle now.
Yeah.
No, it's like it was for Prince Harry, and so
yeah.
So, and then so one of our docs got shot. So we only had one Marine get shot by this guy, Doc Steele, freaking badass. So he and I you ever see? You ever see like old World War II movies where people are enemy at the gates and they're trading off like, okay, I'm going to run across this thing first because the sniper is going to see that and then wait for the next guy to come. So Jake and I would we're out on patrol, we were the buddy pair, and we would take turns who goes first. So whoever goes first is going to run the risk of stepping on an IED, but whoever goes second is going to run the risk of getting shot. So you just alternate and like, hey, my turn, your turn. Anyways, Jake gets shot and call in medical medevac. So a helicopter comes, picks Jake up, and Jake pulls out his K-bar, his bayonet, and hands it to us. He's like, bring this back to me with blood on it. I want his blood on there when you give it back. And then off he goes on the helicopter, like freaking hard dude. And then he went back to Afghanistan like 7 months later.
Damn.
For his second deployment, yeah.
Jeez. And then, so like in the book, you said you like kind of critique the like how stuff happened, right? Or what do you like the leadership?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm probably, aside from the tactics, like just like the stuff I told you about the kids or the names and things like that, I would bet that you probably hadn't heard that stuff before. And I mean, even like my family who had skin in the game, they didn't know about that stuff before I deployed. So there was a lot about the war that was either kept from the public or just straight up the public were lied to about, or they were lied to from generals. So
there's like that just reminds me of, I don't know what it was, but
Attention Central Valley farmers, agribusinesses, and dairy owners. M-Mig Construction understands that your operation is the backbone to America's food supply, and they're here to help you thrive. They specialize in designing, fabricating, and erecting high-quality structures tailored to your needs. Rooted in Atwater, the heart of the Central Valley, they bring unmatched expertise, efficiency, and craftsmanship to every dairy, ag, and commercial construction project. Whether you're building from the ground up or renovating an existing structure, they work with you to turn your vision into a reality. Call M-Mig Construction today at 209-724-9488 or visit mmigconstruction.com. Trust a team that values quality, reliability, and has the trust of our community. You know what I love? Vanessa's Ice Cream Shop. And for 20 years, they've been serving the sweet taste of tradition. They specialize in authentic Michoacan-style ice cream and paletas. Elias Figueroa learned the craft in ice cream shops across Mexico, and now he brings that same passion and tradition to our community here. Visit Vanessa's Ice Cream Shop at 7020 Walnut Avenue in Winton, California, or 710 Carroll Avenue in Merced. And remember to treat yourself to something truly special. Vanessa's Ice Cream Shop. Hey, are you looking to boost your business without the cost of purchasing an expensive ATM or dealing with processing? Cal Central ATM Company has you covered. They provide free ATMs, yes, that's right, free ATMs to businesses like dispensaries, liquor stores, gas stations, barbershops, and more. Reach out today and ask about their wireless card readers. Save money and streamline your transactions with ease and without the card reader fees. Let Cal Central ATM help your business grow. You can reach them today at calcentral23@gmail.com. With personalized care, experienced therapists, and a focus on helping you move better and feel better, Valley Performance Physical Therapy is the go-to spot for all your rehabilitation and wellness needs. They don't just treat symptoms, they get to the root of the problem so you can get back to doing what you love, pain-free. You can reach them at 209-626-5350 to schedule an appointment and are located at 1180 West Olive Avenue in Merced. You know you got to support local by spending local? Trans-County Title is your only locally veteran-owned and operated title company. They have been serving Merced County since 1985 and are ready to help you with your next escrow transaction. By choosing Trans-County Title, your dollars stay local. They are members of local organizations developed to support and improve our community. They offer amazing marketing tools to their agents to better assist you with a smooth transaction and also provide you with the best customer service. Because at Trans-County Title, our service is the difference.
I think it was like a clip I saw, but some guy was like watching TV. Like it's like basically he's talking about like when he lost trust for like the government. And he's like talking about, he's like, is this live right now? And it's like they're like, yeah, this is live. This just happened. He's like,
he was an audience member at a comedy show.
Yeah, and then he's like, they're like, yeah, this just happened. He's like, no, that didn't just happen because I was there a year ago when that happened. And like, but it was just like I was just curious of like what kind of. Was it when you came back that you're having all these different realizations and stuff like that, or like to I don't know, just like have,
No, it was. So when you're there, you're basically thinking like, hey, I'm just going to get through today or like tomorrow. And that's kind of your priority. You see the stuff like with the kids and like, man, this is real bad or whatever. But it was once I got out. So I got out off of active duty in mid 2013. And then you just see all the time for years up until the fall of Afghanistan, we're doing really good. The Afghan army is doing great. They're almost trained up. And, everybody was wondering, hey, when are we going to end this war? Like every year was, when's the war going to be over? And, oh, they're doing great. We're going to turn over security to the Afghans. The military, they're getting security under control and all this stuff. And it's like anybody who's spent more than 10 minutes with the Afghan army would know that
that's not true.
That's not true at all. Like if they weren't super high, they're out on patrol, like they're just worthless. Now, part of the issue was Afghanistan is super tribal. Like they have tribal grudges that predate the founding of America. Mm-hmm. And think of it like Native Americans and how pre-America and how much like those tribes would war with each other and hate each other. So the tribes in Afghanistan hated each other. They didn't even identify as an Afghan. Like, oh, I'm a Nurzai.
And I'm sure they were like, probably like, America being here is just an inconvenience for us to.
Yeah, so we would say, hey, go vote. Like, go vote for what?
Because did they kind of know, like, as soon as you guys are gone, like, stuff's going to go back to the. The way that it's been here.
Yeah, so a lot of them were like, are you guys the Russians? Are you part of the Russian? Like when the Russians were in Afghanistan in 1970, they were just like, you're American? Oh, okay, cool. All right, whatever. They just didn't care. And they knew like, the Russians were here for 10 years and then nothing changed. And so good luck, that type of thing. But they were tribal, so their tribal leader was just the OG. So when we would say, hey, go vote, like, I don't care about the government. I don't even know what is a national government. And then two, it's like, if I go vote, I'm just going to do whatever my tribal elder says. If he says to vote for this guy, then that's what I'll vote for. So there's that piece. So with the tribal makeup of Afghanistan, the Afghan army would send, and this was at the behest of Americans, like, hey, send this unit to this part of the country and this part of the country. And then what was happening was you're sending army units from this tribe over to another tribe that they either didn't care about or hated. So they wouldn't fight for them and risk their life to protect these people that they've been at war with for 500 years. So it was just the policies there were just so messed up. So they're just super messed up in the way that we were trying to operate this war with our own Western framework. I'll even give like credit, like we were trying to do really good, but it's like that's not the way life works out there and with that culture. And even the president of Afghanistan, President Karzai, was a hot dog salesman in DC, like a hot dog cart salesman in DC before he was installed as the president of Afghanistan.
Really?
So he and his family, he and like his brother were really big Mujahideen fighters in against the Russians. So they were the insurgents that we were backing and funding against the Russians. And, just part of his deal was, if you guys beat the Russians, you get to move to America. So he, effectively was an asset of intel agencies. And when you're in that kind of witness protection, like you could be called back to service at any time. So he and his brother own a restaurant and he's slinging hot dogs. And it's like, hey, you're going to Afghanistan, you're going to be the president again. Or not again, you're going to be the president. And so he was pressed into service as the president.
But it's not like we're forcing this guy to be the president of people who don't want a president, right?
Well, he got a lot of money. And so like there's famous interviews, maybe it was BBC, but someone was asking him like, hey, you're taking a lot of money from United States or all the countries that are trying to do this war out here, but you're also taking money from the Taliban. He was like, yeah. Like, okay.
You try to please everybody, basically.
What's your question? What's your point? Like, why are you asking me this? So, I mean, even that was futile. So looking back after I got out, it was like, you see generals testifying in front of Congress and being like, oh yeah, the Army's doing great. The Afghan Army's, training's going well. It wasn't. I partnered with these guys, didn't go well. And then so really the impetus to writing the book was the fall of Afghanistan in, late August, September of 2021. Everyone took it hard. Everybody who served there, I guess, took it hard. And we saw, were you watching the news at that time and seeing people falling off the aircraft?
Yeah. And how they left, right? It's like we just left hella shit and
so we left $80-something billion worth of equipment there for the Taliban. And you see it. And then the real bad stuff was hey, all these people are getting killed. The Taliban are hunting down.
Everyone that we was helping us, obviously they're just going to get picked off by the Taliban because we didn't leave them anything to fight, right? I mean, to really help themselves.
It's exactly right.
Kind of like how was it Vietnam or whenever we helped was it, I don't know which war it was, but it's like the Hmong with the Hmong people in the area and stuff like that. It's like they were helping us and then we dipped out and then they were just getting slaughtered. So then we had to go back and help them a little, or not even help them, take them. It's either with us or not. Yeah.
For sure. Vietnam with the people in Laos and Cambodia and stuff in the countries we weren't actually in, but they were adjacent to Vietnam and
we were working with them.
Yeah. Now through declassification, we know that we were actually working with them.
Yeah.
But at the time, whatever. So the Taliban also, they got the biometric devices that we were using. Oh. So they were able to access. So we would.
So you guys, they left that too?
Yeah. So we would biometric. We would collect the data on everybody, friendly, Taliban, whatever. So we would also flag hey, this guy's pretty good. He helped us find an IED once. So that they basically got a kill list off of the American gear of this is who we're going to. So the news, and it was all true about how they were slaughtering all the Afghans that had helped us. So what made me mad about that was, why the hell wasn't that talked about post 2012 when we pulled out of Helmand Province? So we had our interpreters there, and these were Afghans that would speak the language and they were working with us. And when we left, we're like, hey, what are you guys going to do? And they're like, I don't know, I'm going to die soon. I just know that once you guys leave, the Taliban are going to kill me. I'm not going to go back to my home. I don't want them to find me at my home and kill my family. So I'm just going to, I don't know. But so anyways, so, and then all the people that helped us in Helmand Province from 2010 to 2013, they were all murdered as soon as we left. And then the world made a big stink about it in 2021. It's why was this covered up 8 years ago? And Marines have been killing themselves for almost a decade now. And it's just being talked about now. And so that's kind of why I was like, you know what, there's a lot to say here about the war.
And so were we just in a whole bunch of different areas in Afghanistan? Basically you're saying that you were in your Helmand Province. How long was that operation? You know what I mean?
Yes.
3 years, 4 years?
About 3 years with the Marine Corps. The British moved in, I don't know, they pushed into Helmand Province in this one little area and made no headway there before the Marines went in. But so the Taliban pushed throughout the country and flooded Afghanistan as a result of the U.S. invasion. Not we meant to do it, but the way their fighting style was just like how they did in the Mujahideen fighting style against the Russians was hey, we're going to put up a resistance, and then once we're getting overwhelmed, we're just going to pack our shit up and go move to the next city where there's nobody
set up there, right?
And then we'll set up there and set up a resistance. And so as we started playing whack-a-mole, and that pushed the Taliban through the country. And also,
yeah, because then they're just like, you're going to probably like the epicenter where there's a lot of them, right? And then they're like, well, we're just going to go over here then.
Exactly.
Right? So you guys kept moving from like this province to over here to over there.
So that's how the war unfolded, exactly like that. So it was like just from city or district to province to the next province and moving over and over and over. And then Helmand Province, well, you also create, like I was talking about earlier, with a counterinsurgency. You kill one Taliban, you didn't just remove one Taliban from the battlefield. You just created more. And then civilians always die in war. So when an accident happens, you just pissed off the entire village, and maybe they don't really want to kill you, but they're not going to stop the Taliban from putting bombs in or shooting from their compounds, things like that. So as the war spread out, so did the total of resistance. So Taliban and people who were sympathetic to the Taliban. So then that unfolded from basically 2001 to, well, kind of paused in 2003 when America invaded Iraq and then went back to Afghanistan. Americans and
for some reason.
Yeah. Americans and never fully left Afghanistan, but around, 2007, 2008, there was a big push rotated from Afghanistan back to from Iraq back to Afghanistan. And then Helmand Province became the place because all of the poppy. So this is where the funding is coming from. There's no coalition forces out there, Americans or British nobody was out there, so they could bring weapons in through Helmand Province from Iran and Pakistan. And so it just became, in about 2009, General McChrystal. Have you ever seen the movie War Machine with Brad Pitt?
I don't think I have, actually.
It's actually a really good movie that explains why Helmand Province was so key to like the fight. So it was just the strategic center for the Taliban and the financial hub for the Taliban. So General McChrystal asked for 40,000 Marines. He's like, or 40,000 servicemen. Like, we need 40,000 to go take Helmand Province from the Taliban. And he was authorized 10,000. So
damn.
So if you're only going to get 1 out of 4, you're going to send in the Marines. So that's why the Marines basically got that mission. And then, so one thing that was really cool, and I write about, was just the way the Marine Corps took Helmand Province. So there's the whack-a-mole problem. So if you move into a city, they're going to go move to the next city. The Marine Corps invaded the entire province at once. So you had some Marines patrolling in on foot in surrounding cities, and then they were going to fight from the outside in. And then you had a lot of Marines that were inserted by helicopter, and they fought from the middle of the city out. So they just locked the Taliban in place.
So you kind of surrounded them then?
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, like you go from the inner, and then you go from the outer, and then you're eventually going to...
And it was all of the cities in Helmand Province all at once. And they definitely could have used 40,000. So the way that worked out was you would have some Marines that would be... Their base was a 10 by 10 wooden structure with sandbags and to stop bullets and like chicken wire on the front so grenades wouldn't get dropped in at nighttime. And they spent their entire 6 or 7 months eating, sleeping, fighting, smoking out of that 10 foot by 10 foot structure. And then the next one would be like 500 yards away. So that way you just denied the Taliban freedom of movement. So that rushed timeline kind of, and the way we knew that the Taliban would fight was why the Marine Corps took it that way, which probably doesn't mean much, I guess, to...
Like the long run of thing, or like the grand scheme of things, right?
For sure, because we ended up handing $86 billion of our gear over to the Taliban at the end. But, I mean, we whipped ass in Helmand Province for sure. So it's just such a freaking shame that it ended the way it did.
And then when did everybody pull out of Helmand Province?
End of 2012, beginning of 2013.
And damn.
So all the
And well, you kind of felt like what I was saying about like the guy that I was saying that I saw online or whatever. It's like you're like everyone's upset about this in 2021, but this is the same shit that happened in 2012 when we were there.
When we left, exactly. We pulled down.
There's just so many untold stories, basically. Right?
Yes.
Or even accountability or transparency with America, right?
That's the big thing is like, yes, I'm telling a story, but these stories are representative of policy decisions that were made or not made and things that were just kept secret or, like I said earlier, just lies that were told. So, just a few months after the fall of Afghanistan, I guess just the way I started processing it or my service or whatever, I just started writing. And it wasn't even a book. It was...
thoughts on a page, basically?
Yeah, basically it was just like a journal to my son who was 3 at the time. I'm surprised I'm telling you guys this much about like my service because I never talked about it. My family didn't know anything about my service until I wrote the book. I just couldn't talk about it, wouldn't talk about it. Most veterans are like that.
Yeah.
Just kept all that bottled up inside. And so I just wanted to write a little something to my son because like, hey, maybe one day I'm going to die.
And was like you thinking
ever...
about, were you like, damn, like obviously then you're like thinking about your grandpa and how nobody knew what he fucking thought about. And you're like, it's not even that you want, I mean, obviously you want people to like know the story, but it's like, you're probably like, do I want to live with it just bottled up in me for the rest of my life?
I didn't even think of it like a bottled up thing. I was just like, I really wish I knew what my grandpa did. I mean, he was in the Navy, but he fought with the Marines. I was a Marine. I just would love to have a beer with Grandpa and just, what'd you do? Like, I
shoot the shit, relate to him.
I'd be able to understand now, you know, like, what'd you do? So anyways, I just wanted to tell my son a little bit about like, hey, your dad was almost cool once, just in case I just never told him, just in case it never came out. So I just started writing a little bit to him. I was like, nobody's ever going to read this. He may or may not. Maybe I'll give it to him. Maybe I won't. Wrote a little bit more, and then I started thinking,
he was 3. He wasn't going to read it. I'm just kidding.
For sure. Like, hey, son, I got a bedtime story
just
for you.
Kid, oh, my God.
Yeah. Tonight's story is about when Dad was taking DNA swabs from dead Taliban.
Yeah. Good night.
Yeah. Sweet dreams.
Yeah. God.
So anyways,
I had to add some humor in this at some point. I was like,
please do.
So I waited. I had to wait. I was like, I can't do this. I can't interject early with some humor.
For sure. So yeah, he wrote it for him. Then it started. I wrote like 10,000 words. Not a lot. And I was like, you know what? I think there's some value in this that other people could read. So then I just hammered down like an actual book, instead of like a journal to my boy, like, you know, put it into a book format.
And then was it hard kind of writing the book with like, obviously you don't want to like disrespect like the Marines or like what you guys did there, but you also want to be very transparent about what the fuck was going on.
Yes. So there are only 2 chapters that are my opinion. So although the book is a war memoir, it's very little about me. It's like, hey, these are like, I'm so freaking proud and fortunate to have served with these men. So I tell the story of Helmand Province through all my boys. Like, this is what they did, how the war was fought, like through them.
Like highlighting kind of them.
Just like, this is what they did. I saw them do this. Like, man, this Doc Warren, we're sitting on base. A kid comes running up, or this kid gets shot by Taliban. He runs out of the base with no body armor, no helmet, no weapon, and just starts rendering aid on this kid. And like, that's who should be heard about. My stories are dumb. So like, I tell the story through them, and then that's all extremely respectful to them. And then what you're asking about is it was like, very sensitive on those last 2 chapters where I give my personal thoughts and opinions. And
let's hear them.
So the first, it's kind of like what I was saying about just the culture. Should we really be helping a culture that has these types of values, stuff that we punish here? So why would we send Americans to go bleed, die, and get limbs, and kids growing up without fathers and wives without husbands? And anyways, so that's the crux of my thoughts on the war. And then I also I don't hold anything back on the generals, especially with just how much they lied. And the way it works, and it's disgusting, but the way it works when you become a colonel in the military, so you're an officer, you're a colonel, you're not going to get promoted to a general and above unless you play ball. And in exchange for playing ball and keeping this war going, or whatever, in exchange for playing ball, you're going to get stock options or board seats on XYZ defense companies post-service. So you will get your reward. You will get your $50,000 a month in your paycheck as a general and crazy retirement. But don't worry, on the back end, you're going to be on the board of Raytheon or Boeing or Lockheed Martin, or like General H.R. McMaster's on the board of Zoom.
As the new one, Palantir?
So Palantir. So we would use Palantir software in Afghanistan.
Really?
Yeah. I'm terrified of Palantir.
That's why you don't go on Instagram, bro? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only have a Twitter account because of this book. I got off social media after Afghanistan. I was like, this is probably not smart to have. Not smart. And not that I was doing anything bad on Facebook at the time, but it's just probably not smart to put that data out there to people who could use that data. So yeah, Palantir, we use them to great effect. Great program.
Is that what you used for the creating like the databases and stuff too?
No, that was something else. Well, we use them for, I know they're an AI company now, but we would use them for intel reports. So where we would store and how we could filter and view intelligence reports from, stuff that we're collecting from signals intelligence or human intelligence. Like, it was the center of everything that was happening in Afghanistan was going into there, tracking people and knowing everything about everybody. We use Palantir for that.
Damn. And then what do you think, like, being a veteran, going through this process, like, what's the biggest challenge do you feel like veterans face when they come out and they go back to, like, civilian life?
So there's a couple. Just if you went to war, you're never going to find that high again. A lot of bad stuff happened in that war. I would go back. I'm not a good guy. It was like some of the best times of my life. A lot of lives were ruined. It was just best times of my life. I don't want my son to go. I would go back and do it all over again. My life peaked before I was 21.
But do you think that's because, like, it's almost like you'll never get that type of, I don't know if you want to call it a rush or whatever.
Yeah, it's a rush.
Yeah, it's like
importance. It's saving your friend, and the camaraderie. And it's just such a different.
It's not camaraderie of like, oh, this is my boy. It's just like you're actually relying on each other to fucking live and survive.
For sure, and just even though, like, these guys, like, before we deployed, they were doing heinous things on Friday night and, like, throwing people off the third story of the barracks and box wine races. Then we're, quasi criminals. And then we go and deploy and you just see them do, like, crazy heroic things and Doc Warren running out for that kid, no gear, just complete selflessness. So anyways, you can't get that anywhere else. And you also, you get broken from the rest of society. So I went to college after I got back. So I get all this training on all this gear and putting in tracking devices, life-saving stuff, doing all this stuff. And then, I'm going to go to college and do like Psych 101 and like, I'm
like meaningless. It feels like, right? It feels like
broken. We just you're just removed from society. So I said earlier, I feel like that was real life, and like everything here. And oh man, I'm stressed out because I have a final due or whatever. It's like, what? What? Like, no, that's all just like fake. And you have that. Real life is Afghanistan or war, because what we have here, the blessings we have here, they were secured and like we were given this. So that's, you kind of feel like when I went to war, veterans think like I know what life is actually like, and when I get out, it's like I got to go walk into a fairy tale.
Do you think having kids do that all change your perspective, and just in the sense of like there's more meaning being at home? I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yes. I'm so fortunate I had kids, got married after I got out. So I had a lot of issues, PTSD, things like that, like the first few years when I got out. So I'm extremely blessed to have kids after. But yeah, kids would be kind of like war. Like, it's such a subjective experience. If you tell someone, oh, being a father is great, you don't know it until
you're in the trenches of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you're like, wow, it's just
it's your own, like that's your survival unit here. And you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, you will do anything to protect your family here.
That and they're like your little science experiments that you get to watch grow and mold, and you
could like see parts of you in it, and then parts of like they're just themselves being crazy.
So kids, purpose, sure, yeah, they definitely brought purpose, but it just, for me, they brought peace and happiness. But like I said, I'm fortunate I had them after I started getting better.
Yeah, that's good. And then I mean, I like this question, but you can answer however you want to. But like, if you could change one thing about like how America like approaches war, politically, strategically, culturally, what would that be?
I would say not going to war for war's sake. The reason why I called the book War Business, one of the reasons was war is a business and a lot of people make a lot of money. So why wouldn't you want that money train to end?
We're continuing to be in wars right now.
So the endless wars are a problem for America for a lot of reasons. We're spending our own lives, for things that I don't believe are worth it. And then we're ruining our own economy. The purchasing power of our dollar is not good. It's not, we don't have a healthy dollar, but we're also the US dollar is, the petrodollar is the currency of the world. And every time we go spend another $1 trillion on this war, leave $80 billion of gear to these people, we're diluting the purchasing power of the dollar. So
it's weak right now. It's like a weak dollar right now.
My wife and I were just watching Married with Children, and he's got a house. It's a single income family in like the 80s. And he's like a shoe salesman, and she was like, how could he afford it? And like, our dollar meant something back then. You could have a single family household and a single income household and work a menial job and still be able to buy a house. Like my dad bought his first house when he was working at a grocery store, like stocking shelves.
Exactly. You could have a completely average job, you could buy a new car, have a house, and not have to freaking think
Yeah.
like, what are we gonna do this month? You know what I mean?
For sure. So
And their wife wouldn't be working. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Yeah.
And so we're homeschooling our kids.
What's even like 2020, dude? If you look at houses and prices in 2019, and then you like, it just mind boggles me. I'm like, how did houses raise $150,000 in the past 4 or 5 years? You know what I mean?
Yeah, of
Oh,
course.
it's more like in the past, like 2.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Though, yeah. But like, yeah.
So I mean,
Quick.
with 2020, like I guess I understand it a little bit. The interest rates came down so much, so money was cheap to borrow. So of course that's going to inflate asset value. But then it's interest
so
rates
much
have gone back up a lot more, but the prices haven't gone down. So who knows? But so going to war for war's sake, spending all of our money, weakening our dollar, and then at least in the Middle East, we ruin a lot of lives out there. And
For apparently no reason, right?
like, why did I really don't know what we were trying to accomplish in Afghanistan. What did we get from Iraq? What about Libya or Syria?
All
Yemen?
of those.
Like we toppled Gaddafi's government. We did a regime change war in Libya, and Gaddafi, apparently he was a real bad guy, because once we toppled him, certain video platforms were hosting slave auctions in Libya. Like, it just completely destroyed the country. And
Weren't we going in? Some of these were like maybe not democratically elected, but they were like, sometimes people in the countries, like it's like they were like yeah, there's problems, but America coming in made it worse.
Libya is an example of that. Syria, Syria, we've been in Syria for like 8 years, 10 years. The new president of Syria, so we supported President Jolani. Before he was President Jolani, he was an ISIS fighter. And then we just overthrew Bashar al-Assad we overthrew him as a president, and now an ISIS commander is the president of Syria now. And, he shaved his beard and he's got on a Western suit, he's got on his suit, and now he's welcomed on the international stage. And then a bunch of Christians and other faiths in Syria just being hunted down by this new regime. Are they better off? I don't think so. But also, why did we go in the first place? Let their problems be their problems.
The whole thing I feel like is just like, we spend so much money on all these forever wars, but we spend no money taking care of the Americans.
For sure, we're going to go topple this regime for whatever reason, and then we have 100,000 people dying of fentanyl every year.
Yeah.
And we know the cartels.
Hundreds of thousands, millions of homeless people, which are veterans and everything else, you know what I mean? So it's just like, I just don't get our government, because our government seems to do, even I don't even want to bring it up, but even Gaza and Israel and everything else, it's like, you ask the general American public and everyone's like, that's bad. We don't want to be there. But our government just is like, we don't care what you think. You know what I mean? I just don't get it.
That's true. That's the way it is. I mean, on my personal belief is, I don't care about a Syrian or a Gazan or any other, or somebody from Israel. I don't care about them any more than I care about Americans. Why we need to go help their country and do that blows my mind. There's so much need here. California, we can't even keep the power on through the summer. We have to have rolling blackouts, or there's just so much that we could be investing in here and making our own country strong or safe, or just, there's a lot to do here, but the government doesn't care. And
how does that feel, being someone who fought for our government?
Like I said, I loved it, and I would go back. I really wouldn't want my son to go, because what are we doing? Why did we go? And I do feel like a pawn.
You hear that? Sorry.
I do.
Check it out.
Oh, it's not in. So I thought it was like a feedback thing. You know what I mean? Oh, it just got loud. I think it's outside. Oh, okay, yeah, you're good.
So I do feel like a pawn, and I was young and idealistic, and I wanted to pay those guys back for 9/11.
Mm-hmm. Everything you were told, basically, right?
But also, I had my I wasn't completely altruistic. Like, I wanted to be a Marine. Like, there was things I wanted to accomplish and things that I felt like I could only accomplish through war. And so I had my own personal reasons, but yeah, I felt like a pawn, and it's the lack of accountability now. Afghanistan ended. None of the generals have been punished. And I really think that would help the veteran community. Like, hey, we took a big L with Afghanistan. Let's at least hold some people accountable so we can heal. Otherwise, it's like, hey, vets, we don't really care about you. Like, yeah, you were pawns.
Because it almost feels like that right now, right?
Yeah, it's like, hey, thanks for playing. We're going to go do it again in Syria now, or Iran, or whatever. And it's like, unfortunately, I just felt they didn't care. Don't care.
Damn.
And like I said, I saw like the people I served with made me so proud to serve with them from the things that they did, they were willing to do. People in the military right now will do amazing things for people they've never met. But the government I feel like they just waste the best of us. They just, at least with the military community, like, there's so much good that we can do, and they don't care, and they waste that potential.
Damn. What's you can talk about it, but what's like the craziest thing that you saw when you were over there? Or even moments that just stand out.
Okay.
It doesn't even have to be.
Some cool ones.
What is that?
I'll go back to the track. I've got two stories about the tracking devices. So we pulled some bad guys off the battlefield, which we were doing a lot. We would find them with their drugs, or we had put a device in their vehicle, rolled them up a little bit later. Well, one of the guys that we had detained and pulled back, when we got him back to the base, some dudes in suits came up to us and were like, hey, you never caught that guy. You don't know his name. He wasn't here. He's coming with us. So I was like, okay, we got somebody very, very valuable. So that was just like a super proud moment there. Another cool thing we did with the tracking devices was we had so I made the bulletproof plate that we put in our vest. So I made a fake one, and inside of this...
Oh, and you like left it out?
Yeah. So inside of this bulletproof plate, put a tracking device, and then, painted it all up, made it look exactly like a SAPI plate. And then we staged a gunfight and had a helicopter come in like they were picking up a wounded Marine, put goat's blood all over the gear, and then we left it there. And then started seeing where that gear was going. And then we knew the Taliban, some Taliban commanders were like, yeah, we got one. I got a trophy.
And is it just a tracking device? Like, it's not listening or anything, it's just tracking?
Just tracking.
Okay.
So they were super excited, and they were parading it around like, I got to go show, the manager. And then he was like, I got to go show my manager. We killed a Marine, we got his gear. And the exploits of that were very successful. So that was cool. On the cultural side, we would see some weird stuff. Like, so we would have cameras at day and at night. And at night, we would run infrared just so we could see at night on these cameras. And more than one time, Afghan dudes were banging dogs and other animals. So that was just wild. a detainee, so somebody, and you can definitely stop me.
I mean, you could say we just might
anymore.
cut it out, so
Yeah.
it's okay.
So
I was like, maybe dogs. I don't know.
yeah, so a detainee pulled him off the battlefield. He was wounded, so he had surgery to legs were removed.
Mm-hmm.
He had a colostomy bag. Ended up getting gonorrhea in the colostomy port. Sure, you can imagine
Yeah,
how and why.
Yeah. Jeez.
I ate dog in Afghanistan. So on my second deployment, we were working police, killed these important Taliban with the police. So we went back. They were like, "Come, let's have a party." And this was like, I don't know, 3 months into the deployment. We hadn't showered the whole time. We hadn't had fresh meat or like a vegetable or fruit. It's all like, the meals ready to eat. And so they whipped up some dog, and I had dog.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty wild. There's a lot of just really heroic things about the men that I served with. One of which would be one of our docs was killed, and this was right when we got home. So he was killed. We got extended for 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
We got home and we did a ceremony when we got back to Camp Pendleton for him, like a memorial service. And that doc's, his squad leader, the doc's parents flew out from Texas to come be at this memorial. And the squad leader walked right up to Doc Beecham's dad and said, "Hey, I'm Sergeant Penny. I failed your son. He is dead because I failed. And if you have any grief or hate or anything, you should direct it at me. I was the one in charge, and you should see my face and know that I'm the reason why he's not here."
Sheesh.
And it was just such a freaking powerful and like honorable and like that was probably one of the most ballsiest things I could think of. Just some dude trying to own up to his. It's obviously not a mistake. He wasn't at fault, but he was trying to offer some grieving parents, some solace. It's like that takes. I'm not that kind of man.
Yeah,
that takes
that's
a freaking
crazy.
Honorable guy to do something like that. And then just gunfights are pretty neat and interesting, especially at nighttime, seeing tracers and things like that. I mean, it's not as fun when they're flying at you, but still like pretty cool. It's like fireworks times 1,000.
Yeah, that's fucking. I can only imagine. That's crazy. And then, like, what message, like, would you want, like, to leave with, like, veterans and families, like, just, like, through your book, through this conversation?
Yeah, so so we did an like a advanced review with some people for the book, so they got to read the book, and one of the reviews was from a mother, and she said, "Now I know why my son lost his soul in Afghanistan." And we got a lot of reviews, and people said, "Hey, this is really good." But that was probably, it's like that one sticks to me the most because veterans generally can't talk about their service. And this book, since it's not just directly about me, it's about just everybody that I saw and all of their stories. The book is a great representation of just the general warfighter in Afghanistan. So for them, it's an opportunity to have their service and like the type of life they lived, have that out without having to say it. And then their families can really learn as much as they can through reading. Obviously they didn't experience it, but they can actually kind of see like, oh wow,
what crazy shit happened.
Right. Crazy stuff, and just understand a little bit about, why maybe they are the way they are or why they came home with some issues. So it's really a net positive for family, and hopefully it helps some healing that way with families. And then there's also there's some truths about the war that nobody ever knew about. So I really hope people read that and think about absorb those before America goes into another conflict. And is it worth it? And these are failures we've had in the past and why we've had those failures. So it'd just be good to know things that were kept from the public for a quarter century.
Yeah. And then when's the book out? How can people purchase it?
Yep. So the book is coming out on September 19th. You can purchase it on Amazon. Search for War Business, The Hired Guns of Helmand Province. Right now, there's a couple thousand hardcovers you can purchase. And then once all the hardcovers are gone, it's going to be a paperback. So you can find it on Amazon, and you can also find me on Twitter. Search my name, and I will answer any questions about the book if you DM me or anything like that. But find the book on Amazon September 19th. You can pre-order now, but it starts shipping on September 19th.
Hey, Matt. So the Helmand Province is in the Kandahar region, right?
It's right next to it.
Okay. So just going on the internet, you hear, you see all these stories, you see all these different people talk about their experiences there, right? So I was curious, did you hear anything about the giants of Kandahar?
No, and actually 2 days ago, someone was telling me I need to go back to Afghanistan because I was a failure for not seeing one of the giants of Kandahar. I've looked up those videos for years. Unfortunately, I feel like it's all the same story recycled and told differently, but it does seem pretty credible, the story that is out there. And
Micah, do you know anything about the giants of Kandahar? Duffy, read this.
The Giant of Kandahar is a popular but unsubstantiated story about a massive red-haired humanoid encountered by U.S. military personnel in Afghanistan. The creature is often described as over 12 feet tall and incredibly strong. The story is considered a hoax by many with no evidence to support its claim. With that AI, it's probably right. It's probably real.
So the way the story goes, this is
something
probably
about Nephilim out there, man.
Remind me about that. So the story goes, there's a 12-foot, about 30 U.S. Army soldiers are on patrol going up this mountain in Kandahar. They're walking up. One guy takes a giant spear or javelin to the chest, breaks through his body, through his bulletproof plate. The spear goes in. All 30 of them are dead. Then a Special Forces unit goes out there to go investigate what happened. Why did we lose radio contact? They find just gear thrown everywhere and blood and a spear. And so they go up, they find this cave mouth and they go up into the cave. And the first Special Forces dude that shines his light in the cave takes a spear. And then this 12-foot giant man with orange hair just comes running out of the cave and just starts boxing Special Forces guys, and they end up allegedly killing this guy, and then helicopters come and take the body away, and that's the Giant of Kandahar.
Fucking, this is right up Charlie's alley. The fucking ass.
Is it like
that's crazy.
What do they call them in the Bible?
So there's the Nephilim in the Bible. It's supposed to be the fallen angels, and the fallen angels had mated with humans, and that created
these giants.
It's like an Anunnaki.
It's a very similar area.
So like Goliath, his tribe, they're descendants of the offspring, these giants that were created when the angels fell. And I mean, there's, what do you call it? Like footprints and things are found. And so there's like some sort of substantiating evidence that huge people existed. And then, they're in that area. So the reason why I believe it so much is because Afghanistan is just so secluded. Like if we go into World War III tomorrow, they're going to be just fine. Like they're just tribes people, cave people. They're going to be just fine. So something or one like that could just
easily get lost there. I mean, not lost there, but like hidden there.
Yeah, for thousands of years, or those giant people. And another rumor is like there's apparently a village of just all blonde-haired, blue-eyed Afghans, and they're like the descendants of Alexander's people when Alexander was there. And there are actually blonde-haired, blue-eyed Afghans. Like you would see them there, but apparently there's just like this enclave of just those people, and they just have never been messed with because they're in the middle of nowhere and in a region that's nobody would ever invade or go to.
Sheesh.
Actually, when I was doing those aerial interdiction missions, I should have mentioned this. And the cool thing, we stopped at one of Alexander the Great's outposts, still out there. Pretty cool, pretty wild to say you've
that is crazy.
stepped in the same foot. Yeah.
Damn. Fucking.
Yeah, that was my only question. Thanks for touching on that.
Yeah.
Did you have any?
Me?
Yeah.
Nothing like that.
Oh, okay.
Nothing like that. I get the only question that I had. I mean, you answered a lot of them. It was just like, were you able to like shut your mind off out there and just like through all the fear, all the danger, all that, you just shut it off and just do what you have to do scared? Are you just kind of
numb
to it? Are you not content, but you just like, this is what it is right now? Like,
Yeah. So we
how do you navigate that? Like, is it do you even navigate it mentally, or is it just kind of like go?
So the bad stuff that you see, or like dead people, things like that, that's pretty easy to just out of sight, out of mind. Like once it's done, like, you know what? Like I had accidentally cut a baby in half with my knife, and you just move on.
Yeah.
Okay. As far as getting in like gunfights, or we're heading into the shit.
Or
you
even
just
like that
do it
sniper you were
scared.
talking about.
Maybe it's just me. I was never not scared, but you know, shame and guilt are like super powerful motivators. So it's like, if they're going out, I'm going to go out too. I'll put a brave face on.
Everyone's putting a brave face on, maybe,
And that's really what it is. It's like, everyone's like, well, if you're doing it, I'll do it. So we're going, and then, but yeah, you just do it scared. And then when bullets start flying, just adrenaline starts ramping up and things change a little bit. And like, it's just like, if you're just doing work, you've been procrastinating, I don't want to do it. And you finally get, and then it's like, all right, I'm in it, and everything kind of leaves that way. But like when you're expecting the gunfight to happen, or you're patrolling into the area, you know, your contact is going to happen, definitely scared. At least I was.
Sheesh.
Yeah. You described a gunfight as cool, and I was like, that's crazy.
I don't like it.
It's almost probably how you just have to.
Of course, I just
think about it. No, or
I mean, it's like cool how like
it's like an experience we wouldn't ever encounter, maybe, or
that, or just like how fireworks are cool, or it's just
it's like badass more. Like, I'm not badass more, but you know what I mean. Like
Yeah,
it's like
I don't. You just hear the. Like,
it's probably hard to describe it, also, right?
Well,
you know what I mean.
I don't put too much combat in the book because it's like I could.
You don't
tell
want to say
you,
it's cool. I'm just kidding.
No, it's not that. It's like I could tell you about it, but unless you've experienced it, you won't. Like a million words aren't gonna teach you. You won't pick it up. So, yeah, it's cool. I'm glad I've experienced that aspect of war. I don't like it. I'm not a fan. Some people are. Like, I had one of my junior Marines. We're getting shot at, and I'm on the ground, low crawling, trying to get up to like this berm, and he's just walking around, like walking upright and just doing his thing, like freaking John Wayne. And so people are different. People are definitely different. Me, I didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
It would probably be like with any fight or flight situation you find yourself in. I would say, because I'll give you an example, like what you're describing. Like, it reminds me of times that I've been in a physical fight. You know, you like the adrenaline, like, you know, the contact is coming. You know it's about to happen. But then once it goes, it's like the adrenaline takes over and you realize like, and while it's happening, you're not enjoying it. You might get your ass beat. You know, you might get fucked up a little bit, but then in retrospect, you're like, okay, that was something that you can learn from, or maybe you could dissect it, or, you know, it's like a moment where you either get a chance to show yourself what you're made of, or you get a chance to maybe like tuck tail and run away.
For sure. So as much as I feel like a big giant wiener saying I don't like gunfights, I showed up every time. So I can at least say, like you're saying, this is what I'm made of, you know? So it's like, hey, when like probably the worst thing I would ever experience or possibly experience was happening, I stayed, or, you know, so yeah, you can learn about yourself that way. For sure.
I don't think anyone thinks you're a giant wiener about it. Like,
dude,
you mentioned it earlier. I was like, dude, there's no way. There's no way.
I felt like that writing the book, like, I'm just a giant pansy. I was like, I start the book out like, by day 500, my mind and warrior spirit was just ground down. Didn't like being out there anymore. And I was just like, oh God, what a wiener, you know, but.
That's how you started the book. What a wiener. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Matt, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for your service.
Me. Yeah, thank you.
And thank you for telling your story. I think that it's a good story that's worth hearing.
Appreciate it, brother.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shout out Duffy, shout out Michael.
This is it. Central Valley Podcast.
Hey, big shout out Central Valley Podcast.
You know I had to fuck with it.
Hey, shout out Central Valley Podcast.